Welcome to Lights Camera Location with me, Ash. Thanks for joining me for this very special episode where we're in Corfu, Greece, looking at the locations from the James Bond movie For Your Eyes Only, starring Roger Moore. Behind me is that iconic shot featuring Mouse Island that featured in the movie. So come with me as we journey into a world that is For Your Eyes Only.
For Your Eyes Only was released in 1981 and saw Roger Moore return for his fifth appearance as James Bond 007. The film sees Bond investigating the murder of the Havelocks, who are investigating the trail of a missing British naval surveillance ship equipped with a sophisticated tracking device called the ATAC that could prove deadly if it fell into the wrong hands. Alongside Roger Moore, the film also stars Carol Bouquet as the Havelock's daughter Melina, Topol as Bond's ally Columbo, and Julian Glover as the villainous Christatos. The film is often praised by many as showing a more grounded side to Bond with a more realistic and gritty storyline, focusing on Bond being forced to use his wits and detective skills more than relying on fancy gadgets. Production of the film saw the Bond production crew shooting the majority of the film on location in Greece. Join me as we take a trip to visit the fantastic filming locations from For Your Eyes Only on the beautiful Greek island of Corfu. We start our journey close to the airport. After the Havelocks are killed right in front of their daughter Melina, James Bond is sent to investigate Cuban hitman Hector Gonzalez. He is sent over to the mountains of Spain, where he must investigate the Gonzalez villa to try and find out who hired him to kill the Havelocks. Although it's supposed to be set in Spain, the actual filming location was the island of Corfu. Now there are two locations used for the Gonzalez villa. The first is the entrance, which is seen here when Bond drives past the gates and he is caught on camera. Those scenes were shot right here at the entrance to the Danilia village in Guvia. After parking the Lotus, Bond makes his way over to the villa. We are introduced to a pool area full of beautiful women enjoying the sun. The scenes around the pool, although supposed to take place at a villa in Spain, were actually shot at the Villa Silva in Canoni, Corfu.
So here I am in the entrance to Villa Silva. The gate is open. There's the road. But I'm not sure if I'm going to be allowed in. But let's give it a try. So I'm at the steps of what I believe is Villa Silva. Over there I think is where the guards would have stood. So Roger Moore looked up and saw a guard fooling around with a girl who filmed over there.
This was the pool area where the scenes took place. When Bond first arrives outside the villa, he can be seen covertly spying on the pool area, attempting to identify the person who hired Gonzalez. He is soon captured and taken into the villa. Those scenes were shot in this area, just outside the villa. Bond is brought into the pool area where he's ordered to be killed. This is the area that those scenes were shot. The villa area itself is still very much the same as when the movie was shot. Today, the Villa Silva is available for wedding hire. After being captured, Bond escapes after Gonzalez is shot. He runs into the nearby forest where he meets Melina, played by Carol Bouquet. They escape together through the forest, where unfortunately Bond's Lotus is destroyed thanks to the burglar alarm that contains a vehicle's self-destruct system. It is here we get our first look at Melina's car, her faithful yellow Citroën 2 CV. During a recent visit to Wollerton Hall in Nottingham, I happened to come across this fantastic original of that exact same Citroën 2 CV, complete in yellow just like the movie. Owned by the very friendly Peter from Nottinghamshire. So right behind me is a yellow Citroën 2 CV, just like the one used in For Your Eyes Only. So this is the car that Roger Moore gets into with Melina, Carol Bouquet, and they drive away in the hills of, it's supposed to be Spain, but it's shot in Corfu. The car was in great condition for its age and had been well looked after. Powered by a very simple 2CV engine and featuring a very simple classic design, this car was a very popular, economical and affordable vehicle with thin tyres. It could get about windy roads and bop around town with ease. In the movie, the chase begins in the mountains, progressing into a small town that again is supposed to take place on the outskirts of Madrid in Spain. But the real location is the small town of Pagoy in Corfu. The car itself drove through the centre of town where it mounts a curb and lands upside down. Those scenes were shot right here in this exact street. After a bus blocks the path, the local villagers help Bond and Melina turn the car over and they carry on with the bad guys in pursuit. The car passes by a local cafe, which since the movie has been transformed into the fantastic Spyros 007 cafe. If you're a Bond fan, then check this cafe out. It's a brilliant place to visit. Step inside and take a look at the cafe's fantastic collection of James Bond memorabilia, including a seat that Roger Moore himself even sat in. The menu is a brilliant mixture of homemade Greek dishes made by the very friendly and welcoming Jimmy and Eleni, who run the cafe. Jimmy was very kind enough to show me his collection of Bond books, and Eleni shared a very cool story with me about the making of the film. During the film, she told me she was 10 years old, and then if you look closely at the window, as the cars drive away, you can see a little girl. That little girl is Eleni. Amazing stuff. A beautiful town that is well worth a visit for any Bond fan. Check it out, the Spyros 007 Cafe in Pagoy.
Love a drive in the country, don't you?
Later in the movie, Bond returns to Corfu, where we are treated to a fantastic establishing shot of the sea, with an island, a church and a pier in frame. Bond arrives at the pier to greet Melina. Those scenes were shot right here, back in Koeta, at the holy monastery of Panagia Vlacherna. I hope I pronounced that right. While you are here, be sure to take the time to walk up the observation platform and witness the planes as they fly into the airport, literally meters above your head. What a rush! We next see Bond and Melina head off into the nearby town. This town is the capital city of Corfu town. This scene of the town's famous clock was shot in this street right here. Many of the surrounding streets were used to show Bond and Melina shopping that can still be explored today. A very authentic but very beautiful Greek town that is full of vibrant culture. After completing their shopping, Bond and Melina can be seen at a park, approaching a balcony with a beautiful view of the landscape. Although this scene appears to be in one place, the film actually makes use of some clever editing and takes place in two different locations. This shot right here of the old fortress and the monument is in Corfu town. This monument here is actually the Maitland Monument in Corfu town. They appear to walk over to this area, but when it cuts, they are actually walking over to the edge of the gardens at the Achillean Palace up in the mountains. Behind them is a fantastic statue of Achillean himself. The gardens of the palace are fantastic to visit and are open daily to the public and can be explored to this very day. The next shot, we are back at the palace again. Although supposed to be a local casino, these scenes and the scenes outside were all shot outside the Achillean Palace in the mountains of Corfu. This area right here was where those scenes were shot. After completing his card game, Bond proceeds outside with Christatos to have dinner. Those scenes were shot out here, just next to the Greek statues in the gardens of the Achillean Palace, just outside the palace itself. It is here that we are first introduced to Topol, as Columbo, and the late Cassandra Harris, the former wife of Pierce Brosnan, who plays Countess Liesel. When I visited the palace, unfortunately the interior was undergoing a renovation, so I wasn't able to go inside, but the gardens and the grounds were still open to the public. A fascinating and stunning place, I highly recommend a visit to the Achillean Palace in Corfu. Later in the film, after Bond decides to join forces with Columbo, they launch an attack in the early hours of the morning at a nearby warehouse in an attempt to expose Christatos. The scenes of the raid and the chase with Locke up the fortress were shot in this place right here, at the Old Town Fortress and the nearby marina in Corfu town. At night, the fortress is lit up and can be seen perfectly from the nearby bar and restaurant of Imabri.
It's outside the entrance to the old fortress in Corfu. You can't get in at night, but it's lit up, which is very cool, so it gives you a real sense of what it was like when they filmed it.
Now I'm going to stop you right there, because I know exactly what you're thinking sat at home, and the answer is yes. I was very, very drunk when I filmed this.
There it is, the old fortress in Corfu. You can check it out, it's a real live movie location.
The storming in the early hours and the gunfight was shot in this area right here. The warehouse can be seen being blown up. The battle moves on into the fortress, where Bond is in pursuit of Locke, who drives his car right up the top of the fortress. Locke drives up this ramp. Bond pursues him up the stairs. He then runs through the tunnels. When he gets to the top, he sees Locke dead in his sights. He has no choice but to pull the trigger. The car ends up on the edge of the cliff. This is probably one of Roger Moore's grittiest Bond scenes, as he is seen kicking the car off the edge of the cliff. Roger was unsure of this at the time, but what director John Glenn was attempting to show was a harder edge to Roger's Bond character, and by doing this, the dark undertone of the film was dramatically increased. I think this is what has led to the film holding up very well today, even after all these years. The scenes of the car were shot in this area of the fortress. Unfortunately, not accessible now due to the structure being quite dangerous. It can however still be seen as you walk up to the top of the fortress. A very cool place to visit, the fortress is open to the public to explore, and despite its age is still in very good condition. Well worth a visit. After joining up once again with Melina, Bond recovers the ATAC transmitter, but Christatos and his men apprehend them on Melina's father's ship. After Christatos believes to have killed them by dragging them through shark-infested waters, they are left clueless as to where to go next. Thankfully, Max the parrot points them in the right direction. St. Cyril's Monastery. Bond arrives at one of Greece's St. Cyril's monasteries on the trail of Christatos. After walking through the town square, he enters the church. The scenes of the town square were shot right here, back at the Danilia village in Guvia. He enters the church, which looks almost the same today as it did in the movie. He walks over to the confessional booth and sits down asking for forgiveness.
Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned.
That's putting it mildly, 007.
The very same church used in the movie can still be visited even today. The village itself is not only a popular tourist destination, but was also the setting for the British television series The Durrells. The village was also used in the movie My Big Fat Greek Wedding Part 3. The village is full of period-style buildings, a restaurant and a museum showcasing a sample of period life in Greece. It really is a great insight into historical life in Corfu, Greece. The film's finale sees James Bond take to the mainland to apprehend Christatos, where he scales the wall of the Great Holy Trinity Monastery. Unfortunately for this video, I was unable to travel to the monastery due to time constraints, but I hope you have enjoyed this in-depth look into many of the awesome locations that can still be visited today in Corfu, Greece, from For Your Eyes Only, Roger Moore's 5th James Bond film, and one that many say is one of his best. What a journey it has been! I had a blast putting this video together, and I hope you've enjoyed watching my journey into what I think is one of the best Bond films ever made. If you get the chance to visit Corfu and you're a James Bond fan, I highly recommend visiting these locations. A great film and a great location, Corfu Island in Greece. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this film, and thank you for stopping by. To stay up to date with all the latest videos, please remember to like and subscribe to the channel. You can also follow me on Instagram at Lights Camera Location Videos and over on Facebook at Lights Camera Location. Thanks for stopping by.